Hi guys, welcome back. I am here to do a wee craft along with me video today. As some of you may know if you watch if you look at my Instagram at all, I have put my Etsy shop on hold. It's on holiday for a wee bit, and in that time I've just done this simply because I felt like my stock was getting really low on there, and so I just wanted to put it on holiday for a little bit so that I had some time to really boost up my stock, and then I would relaunch it at the end of however long it takes me to boost up the stock. And I would have a whole lot more to share with you guys, which I think will be really exciting. So I have made this journal here, this lovely pale green journal, which I think is really, really pretty. It's a soft cover journal made with this lovely floral fabric on the outside, and on the inside we've got some beautiful pale green vintage wallpaper, which I think is lovely, and there's a layer of felt on the inside between the two layers just to give it that softness. It's 3 signatures just bound on here like this with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and then I've done a wee collage on the front here with the pale green and the pale pink, which also appears a small amount in this book. Not a lot, but there is a little bit of pale pink in here. And it's kind of a spring sort of journal. I just think these sort of pale pastel-y greens and pinks, I don't know, to me that just reminds me of spring a little bit. So I just thought I would give you a really quick flip through. I'm not going to go through every page. I'm just going to show you kind of the general idea of the book. You can see that there's a lot of this pale green, pale pink, browns and some whites, and a lot of textiles in here. So there's a lot of the there's sewing on every page, and there's a lot of like fabric and lace and wallpaper tags and lots of things like that. And there are quite a few pockets in here. I think there's 18 pockets all up, which I want to fill up with lovely ephemera. So we've got pocket here, we've got a few of these pockets. This is that lovely pale pink kind of colour in the background with the little green branches and leaves on here. Lots of beautiful, beautiful textiles. That's what I love about journals, is I love them having a lot of free space for journaling, but also filled up with beautiful textiles and sewing and things like that. So I have put together all of the pages actually have textiles on them except for these pages. They've still got the sewing, but the scrapbook papers don't have any textiles on them. But I absolutely love it. I think it's turned out really, really nice. And so I'm now going to be working on some embellishments to pop into all of those pockets. And I thought I would make it a bit of a craft along with me kind of video. I think I will speed it up, and you guys can grab a cup of tea or coffee or whatever you like. And I will either do a voiceover with it or put some music on with it. I'm not really sure yet. I haven't actually kind of got any music that I've sourced for this sort of thing. So it may be a voiceover, but I may find something. I don't know. We'll just see how we go. But yeah, I think I'll pop you on I'll speed it up because I'm so indecisive and slow. So I'm going to speed it up, and I will catch you at the end, and we'll go over all of the embellishments that we made and see how we got on. So I will now leave you to it, and I'll see you at the end of the video. So I decided I would do a voiceover for this, because I don't have any copyright free music that I could share with you, and also just because I thought that way I could explain kind of what I'm doing here and what's going on. So here I decided I had already put these pages together. I'd glued a whole bunch of pages together to make it nice and firm. I did that the day before I filmed this video because I decided that I wanted to be able to have the glue all nice and dry. So I'm just here cutting out the edges off of it because they were quite rough. So I'm just making it nice and smooth around the edges, and I was going to make it into a tag, but then I just decided I would leave it rectangle shaped rather than cutting the corners off of it. So now I'm just going through my basket here beside me. I had this massive basket full of scraps of paper and pictures and things like that, and so I'm just rummaging through all of my mess of stuff. I'd picked out these papers all beforehand that I knew would kind of go with the green and neutral and baby pink kind of colours, and I'm just adding some scraps on the back because the text was all upside down. I'd obviously glued the pages all up higgledy-piggledy, and so I decided I would just glue some other scraps on the back, give it a nice clear space so that people could choose to write on it or stick a photo on it or whatever. Whoever gets this journal can make their own decision on that, but I decided that I would just cover it up so that there is the ability to write on it if they would like to. So just gluing down my scraps, and I do make a big mess of the glue all over my tablecloth, and I don't really mind because it just dries out. I don't mind. So I'm just finishing that all up, and then I also have a wee label sticker there that I'm going to add as well. So it's just going to go up the top there. And that journal card is just about finished now. I felt like the front needed just something else. It just had sort of a plainness to it, and I didn't quite know what I wanted to do with it quite yet. So I found that some scraps of lace and fabrics and things, and so I was just trying out what they'd look like at the top. And that was what I decided to go with, but actually later on you'll see I used a different fabric instead. I used the same fabric that's on the front cover of the book. I just decided that those colours obviously went better generally with it, so I used them instead. So now I'm looking at our Ephemera piece number 2. I'm recovering one of these tags, or just adding some details to this tag. I got these, I'm not sure if you will have seen the video that I've made about this when this comes up, but I got a whole bunch of these kind of old yellowy tags recently. And keep your eye out, because I have got a video of where I got them from either coming or it will have just been posted very recently. So keep your eye out for that. So I'm just grabbing again a bunch of scraps out of my scrap bin there and just going through and deciding what I want to put on it. And I'm sorry that I'm kind of out of frame here. I just got into the zone. I had my music going and I kind of forgot I was filming. And so I did end up, going right down the bottom and kind of going off camera a little bit. But I do hope that you can still kind of see what I'm doing there and get the idea of what's going on. Hopefully I'll bring it back up into frame a bit better soon. I don't know if I do or not. There we go. It's a little bit more in frame now. So now it's just a matter of sticking down the pieces. I tried not to dilly-dally around too much and second guess myself. I find it's just much, much, much more fun if I just go for it and just don't let myself get too hung up on how everything looks. I find that very easy to do and just sort of keep on changing my mind and thinking, oh, this doesn't look perfect, this isn't perfect. But actually it is so much more fun if you just go for it and things turn out just fine. So I decided to add a typewritten word. I used the word bloom. I used a few typewritten words throughout this video. Or I don't know if I used, I did use another one on this video, but I also made another journaling card which isn't in this video, which you'll see probably in the video that comes out after this, which also had some typewritten words on it. So I used it a few times throughout the day. I just have made 2 parts to this video. So I just added a wee piece of pink paper up the top there. I just felt like there was a bit of a gap and I just needed to fill that in somehow, so I just tore along the edge and added that wee piece of pale pink paper to the top there just to fill in that spot that looked a bit bare, and I was much happier with how that looked in the end. So that tag is all now complete, and so I was now trying to find something else I could work with to create something else. I had no real plans when I was making this. It was just sort of use up these scraps and make something to put in the journal. So I decided to make this kind of like pocket thing, which I just used a piece of, excuse me, I got the hiccups, a wee piece of card that I got recently. Oh, now I'm yawning. Excuse me. And some piano paper here. I love this piano paper. It's just really interesting with the grey background. I don't know, I just find this one, it's just a small book of piano music pieces that I have, and it's just really interesting. So I just tore down the edge of it just because I really prefer the way torn paper looks to straight cut paper. I just think it really adds an extra level of interest and uniqueness when you add it with torn paper rather than straight paper. So I now just glued in that piece of piano paper, or piano music. I assume it's piano, I actually haven't looked, but just glued that in just so that the background piece would have something interesting there. And I added a wee piece of paper doily that I had left over from something else and added that in. I just thought that looked quite cute poking out the top of the pocket, but I knew I didn't want to put it, well, at first I thought I might try and attach it to the front piece of the pocket, but I decided that if anyone was trying to put things in and out of the pocket, it was inevitably going to end up all broken and bent and things, so I decided I'd just glue it straight onto the back so that it kept its shape a bit better. And so now I'm just cutting out a piece of that green, lovely green wallpaper, and I just used my scissors to sort of mark where I knew I needed to cut it again so that it would fit. So I just made kind of a dent in it because I forgot to bring any pens or pencils in with me. So now I just cut it out and am going to stick it on. I use double-sided tape, I believe, yes, because I don't know, I just find it a bit stronger than the glue stick that I had with me. So that is going to get stuck down now to that front part of the pocket, which I really, really liked how that pocket turned out actually, and I think I may even make some more like that because I was pretty happy with how this looked overall. I think that the colours all work really nicely, and so I was happy. So I just decided now that it didn't quite seem finished, and I was going to put a Tim Holtz flower on it, but in the end I just wasn't really happy with any of the options that I had there, and I ended up going with a piece of lace that you can see here, just tucked down the side. I am yawning. As most of you know, if you've watched my recent video, I am pregnant at the moment, and I have some terrible pregnancy insomnia, and am finding sleeping very, very difficult at the moment, which is a real shame because sleeping never used to be a problem for me, but now it certainly is. So please excuse me, I can't help it, but I'm just yawning and yawning, and it's awful. So we finished up the pocket. I just added lace to the side, and that was how we finished it. So I'm just grabbing out a few pieces here. I've got one of my new index cards. Well, it's new to me, we'll say. New to me index cards. And I am just layering up a few pieces, seeing how I like them, and just sort of, giving it an interesting look here. So I put this on, and then I kind of realised, oh no, that's right, I had already realised at this point that I wanted to put the pink line down the bottom, because then if you flip it over, it would mean that was the top. So it's just funny the way those index cards are, that I don't know if index cards are always like that, but the top you've got to flip it like, I don't know, just weirdly, instead of, I don't know, I can't explain it, but I fixed it anyway. So now I'm just adding some few more bits and pieces to just kind of give it a bit more of an interesting look, and I add that piano paper in, which is really lovely, and I decide to go with that little cigarette card of the bird. It's a nightingale, I think, and it's just lovely, and it had a lot of greens and pinks on the card, and so it kind of tied in with the colour scheme of this whole journal, so I thought it went really well. And I added a bit of that kind of peachy, creamy kind of paper down the bottom too, which I thought looked good. And so then we add the bird journaling card, and I also add a typewritten word. You will soon see my typewriter come out, and I type out the word lovely. I struggled trying to come up with sort of spring themed words. It actually is, I should have planned some words beforehand, but lovely works. And so I was pretty happy with how that looked, but I also kind of just felt like it needed a little bit more, so I did add a wee piece of kind of greenish grid paper in behind the word lovely, which I really do think tied it together a lot better. It was a tea-stained piece, so it's quite grungy looking, but I really like how it all came together in the end. And then I just put the bird card just over the top of it a wee bit so that it all layered together. So I just added some double-sided tape to the back of the card because the card's quite thick and I didn't think glue stick was really going to cut it. But I did use glue stick for the lovely paper there, the word lovely, because that was thinner, so I didn't need double-sided tape for that. Okay guys, I'm back, and here is the finished products of what we made. So I've just been to my sewing machine and I've zapped around the edge of them. So here was this tag we made. Still need to put a wee bit up of fabric or something up here, but here's the tag, plain on the back, so plenty of space to write on it there, and it's looking very pretty. I like the green around the edge. Then we made this pocket with the lace on the side, wee pocket, so you can see here that I've sewn that up, so now that's a wee pocket and you could tuck something in there. I really like being able to use that wallpaper. I love this wallpaper. I'm nearly out of it, which I'm really sad about, but it's beautiful. And then we've got this sort of like a journal card, so you could write all on the back here, and then this has got the beautiful butterflies on the front, which is lovely. And then we also made this wee index card, so you can see on the back there I've left the index card plain so people could write on there or stick a photo or something. It's got that cigarette card attached, and I just did some zigzag sewing down here and a few back and forths of straight stitching, and I really like how that one turned out too. So they will look really, really good tucked inside my journal somewhere. So we've got this big pocket here, so you could tuck the pocket in, or this lovely big butterfly journaling card, or we've also got these smaller cards and tags here. I'm not sure if they'll go in these big pockets, they may do, or if I will pop them somewhere like in here. There's that wee pocket, or the other side of the paper bag, which I'm going to need to find. Where is it? Where is it? There. Or like in here, things like that. So that's looking really cool. So that's those done. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd love it if you would consider subscribing. It means so much to me, and let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed watching me make these things. It's really handy for me to know what you guys actually like watching from me and what you'd like to see. So if you've got any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!